Um, Welcome back. It is Glamour J, and it is March 6, 2018. I debated on making this vlog today, but I just thought, get it over and done with. It's like a band-aid, just rip it off. I am going to be covering with you what I had experienced the last 2 years. It has not been the easiest, but if I have not had the faith in God and knowing that He's with me and learning how to trust Him and be patient and learn forgiveness, I wouldn't be where I am today. So on that day, I have shared it many of times. This is me just reliving of what I had, or Ray and I had experienced. It was on a Sunday. We had just left service at church, and we were going down the road on Pebble Hills here in El Paso, and we came to a light. There were 2 vehicles ahead of me. I was at a stoplight. Ray and I were just talking. He was in the passenger seat. And I guess I was just looking down, or I was looking at him while he was talking to me because the light was still red. And we got hit. I can still remember that sound. I can still remember Ray asking me what just happened, and I look up and I go, I don't know, and I look and thinking maybe I missed the light and the light is still red at this moment. By the time Ray yelled at me and said, call the police, and I reached for my phone. My purse was like a wrap around me. I still was carrying my shoulder purse. I reached and called the police. I was in shock, and the pain was unreal. The young man who had hit us came to my window. I rolled down the window, the button. He asked we were okay, and I said, no. But are you? He goes, yeah, I just want to make sure you're okay. And the police on the line was getting information. I was telling them I'm on Pebble Hills and Lee Trevino, the intersection. The light was going, the green. And I remember looking at this young man at my window. You could see the fear in his eyes. And I'm thinking, God, he's just the same age as my son or my daughter. And I was praying. I was saying that our Father over and over and over. Not for me, but for Ray and for this young man. The firemen came. The ambulance came. The police came. pain. Oh my goodness, God, the pain. I couldn't move. They got Ray out first with the stretcher. I don't know where they took him. I want to say we were in the same ambulance. I want to say that, but it's a big fog. That day was just... There's certain things I do remember and there's certain things I don't. I do remember them asking me questions over and over, and I couldn't move. They had to cut my purse off of me. I was wearing my seatbelt. They had to come through the back. Somehow they got the door window up. They had to crawl through the door to help me get out. To lay me back to get me out. Being new to El Paso, we had just arrived in December of 2015. We were just there less than 3 months. I didn't have a doctor. I don't know who my hospitals were that's contracting with my insurance. I had no idea. To that point, it was scary. I'm in the hospital and they're checking me out, and of course the CT scan at me, all the x-ray at me, the x-rays and the pain, the neck brace. Oh my God. The part that really stunk. Of course the police department was there and they had my license. And they're assuming I didn't know English because my last name. There was a nurse in the room that was very hateful, saying some horrible things about me. And I couldn't respond or say something because I was so in shock and so much pain. And then finally she said, she just needs to stop crying. She's a big baby, something like that. And I was saying the prayer, Our Father, continuously. And I looked at her and I said, No hablo English. Tears coming out of my eyes. And she stopped, and the other nurse said, You need to leave the room. She understands. They x-rayed me. They x-rayed me from mid-stomach area up. They never went through my L region of my back or my SI joints at all. So they didn't find it. They didn't see the injury. They did things upward. No. I love you, but no. So, they sent me home that evening. And they said it doesn't get better, which is going to get worse because, you know, you just experienced a trauma and your body hasn't settled down from that trauma, so your body's still in shock, so it's going to get worse before it gets better. Yeah. Now, just to remind you, Ray and I don't know really a soul. Nobody here. And our vehicle was taken to the side to a parking lot. I think O'Reilly's. I'm thinking O'Reilly's parking lot. So we explained to the doctor who was discharging us we don't know where we're at and we need to call a taxi because we don't know how we're going to get home. So the doctor was nice enough to provide transportation for us home. Three days later, I went to a doctor. I come to find, I had to call because it was just, it hasn't changed. So we go to the doctor, and it was like, this place, they probably see at least 400 patients a day. And it was like, I don't know the right terminology, but it just cattle in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And they did not know the HIPAA laws or how to confidentiality, and your chart would be wide open on the counter. It was horrific. It was a horrible experience coming from Kansas, having the same doctor for 20 plus years, knowing how you should be treated and knowing the confidentiality and knowing your doctor knows you and where you can't, he knows your history. And you're starting over and you think you're losing your mind because why am I hurting the way I'm hurting? And they said there's nothing wrong. So there you begin getting phone calls from their insurance company and questioning why you're hurting as bad as you are because there's not a lot of damage to your vehicle. Now remind you, I'm driving a Blazer and it had a full tire in the back that is now damaged. The arm that was holding the tire was damaged. The door still today does not open because it took so much from that hit and I'm still feeling it every day. And I try so hard to remain positive and reinforce, and the pain was so bad. So bad. My blood pressure was sky high. They were changing meds and this is March, April. I think it was April 26th. My blood pressure, I think it was like 194 over 1. I don't know if it was 112 or something, but I was scared. I was so scared. I told Ray, I gotta go in. I called the doctor's office, and they had said, well, if you want to, you can go to the ER. And I'm thinking, wow, this is scary. Managed healthcare. So he takes me to this clinic. It's like one of those Sun City emergency center. And I'm going to tell you something. That place saved my life. I think if I had gone to the hospital, I would have been dead. I can say that. Because every time anybody has an auto accident here in El Paso, they go to the hospital or get sent, they're dead. They were afraid I was having a heart attack. They ran so much blood work and testing and EKG and CT, and they ran so much compared to what they'd done a month prior. It wasn't my heart. It was because of the pain was so bad. My body wasn't able to handle. From there, I had begged the doctor, the ER doctor, who he would recommend for primary care that is good and safe, knowing this is going to be a situation. I remember before that even happened, the doctor that I saw at the first clinic, when they did the MRI, they sent me to go get an MRI, and I went back to get my results. And I went in the room, and I'm sitting there, and he comes in and he goes, "So how are you doing?" I go, "Seriously, doctor, it's not getting any better." And he goes, "It won't. The hospital failed you. You have problems with your..." And he explained to me my L5 to my L1 and my SI joints of my hip regions are damaged. I can never ride a bike again. I'm limited to walking. There's days I have to use a cane. There's days I can't do much. I can't work out in the gym. Can't work on my lower part of my body. I can stretch it. I have exercises, but I can't do what I used to do. Flashing forward, the doctor referred me to a doctor, Dr. Provencio. He's good. Dr. Rogers is good. It's like I was home. I could respect the office. I knew my work was going to be done correctly. I knew they knew what they were doing. He says we need to refer you to a back specialist and also to pain management. But what we're going to do about this lump that the hospital found in your thyroid, I'm a little concerned. Have you had any treatment on that yet? I go, "Lump on my thyroid?" He goes, "Yes, Miss Hernandez, you have a lump on your thyroid." I had to go for testing for that. I had a biopsy. They had to make sure it was cancerous. I still have the lump. I have to be tested to make sure it doesn't turn cancerous. Meanwhile, I'm at my back specialist, and he goes, "Let's get you controlled with your pain level because your blood pressure is outrageous, and we need to get you on something." So he prescribed me medication. I go to the pain management doctor and he's prescribing medication. And I'm going to tell you something. Within months, I gained so much weight. It's because of the medication. And I developed fatty liver disease. I went to contact my back specialist again, and they moved. They didn't tell me. They didn't contact me. I was horrified. I'm thinking, how does this town here in El Paso, the amount of people that live here, the medical field is getting away with what they're getting away with? How is this happening? How can they do this? I ran into so many issues. Meanwhile, on top of all of this, the lawyers are still working on the case. There's nothing I can do. We had to get a lawyer. Because that other company knew there was a problem. Me being told again by the insurance that I should just suck it up. You know, I understand my life has changed. I understand it's not going to be the same. And I understand I have good days and I have bad days. But I do wake up. And I have trying every day. I don't want to take a narcotic. My pain management doctor and I have made the verbal agreement. We are at this point, Jay, that you don't need me or don't want me. I need them, but I don't want them because I don't want to be another number. I don't want to be a statistic out there. I want to see my grandkids. I want to see my children. I want to be with my husband. I do have good days and I have bad days, and there's days that I'm angry. But I'm going to tell you something. Since 2 years ago, I learned to forgive. I learned to be patient. I learned to accept myself for who I am. And knowing is it worth to have that argument? Is it worth to be angry? Is it worth? Life's too short. So yes, it's a battle every single day. Everyone is going through their own journey. I was afraid I was going through a really dark place. Dark. But I'm very blessed to have God watch over me. He has held me. I know my father, I know my grandmother, I know my grandfather, I know everybody who has passed, went on, are with me. I know it. I feel them. So this has a good emotional day. Be good to yourself. Be careful where you are at. Please, I beg you, don't text and drive. Pull over, go to a parking lot, not even at a red light. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Believe me, it's not. I had to go to court for that young man because, of course, the auto accident, and he didn't show. I felt so bad for him. I can imagine the guilt that young man is going through, and I still pray today, our Father, for him, because I don't want this to change his life and have him go down the bad part of life. I pray. So if anyone who's not seen my old Facebook lives, this is my story. I missed my son's graduation. I can never get that back. I wanted to spit so bad. That's why going to see him in Maine when I was released, was so healing for my soul. And I was so proud of the young man I've seen. So I'm not here for you to how do I put it? I want you to learn from what I have experienced and what I am experiencing. Dealing with medication, with your health, with doctors, and knowing you have rights. And don't take life for granted. Don't. And if you're not okay, be honest. Don't lie about it. Don't. And a special note, whoever's on the opposite side, that nurse or that doctor or that person's taking you back, don't be so rude. Don't. Because maybe that individual just needs someone to listen or just a smile. Respect them, because that could be your mother, that could be your grandmother, that could be your father, your grandfather, your son, your grandbaby. It could be you. So today, March 6, 2018. It's a good day. I woke up. I push myself every day. And I want you to do the same, because I'm here. I am praying. Praying for you every day. Do you not think I don't? I do. Because I know what it feels like. I love you. I love you so much. And I appreciate all of your prayers. You cannot comprehend how much I appreciate it. I love you. The journey hasn't ended yet. We're still going through legal aspects of it, if that makes sense. Clem and Jay will be back. There'll be another anniversary. There'll be another day of pain. But we're getting stronger every single day. I'm a survivor. I'm not a victim. So I love you. You have a beautiful day. Remember, don't text and drive. God bless. Love always.